It's a pleasure to be here, and I don't know exactly why I'm here talking about behavior, because I'm here early to learn about it. But because Jonathan is on our board, he actually has motivated us over the last few months to really start thinking creatively about this topic. And the assignment we were given was, if a lot of people took individual actions, would it add up to very much? And could we start to address some of the global warming challenges through aggregated individual behavior? And so we assigned it to a couple of staffers, and they started looking at all the different things people could do individually and simple steps. So this was not about deep retrofits and other things we know we need to do also, but it was asking the question, with little or no cost, behavior changes, what would be the benefit? And we asked the question, we basically had to establish some baseline, and then we had to say, and we just said, let's assume if everybody did it. This was more for communication purposes. If everybody does X, what would happen? And what you find is you can identify in homes, transportation, eating habits, lots of different things, that if everybody was to take simple steps, small actions, it would add up to what we called basically going back to the wedges, and that comes from this Princeton paper that Sokolow and Pakala wrote a few years ago about what would it take to reduce get us to a gigaton of carbon reduction. And by the way, the US is about 7 gigatons, and they came up with different strategies to get a gigaton of reduction. And we challenged ourselves to say, okay, based on just individual action and behavior, could you get to a gigaton of carbon reduction? And there's a fact sheet that's on our website that kind of summarizes those results. And I won't go through it, but okay, I will give you a few ideas. It's really, for example, on traveling, if you carpool twice or telecommute once to work every week, it would create 75 million metric tons of carbon reductions if everybody did that by 2020. So we basically, if people flew once less per year, if people would maintain their vehicles, if people reduced their motor vehicle idling, if people would, wash their clothes in cold water. Just things that you've heard many, many different times, people urging everyone to do in terms of individual action. We did throw in replace incandescent bulbs, consume less red meat and dairy. And we're not saying give it up, just less, and we define what that less would be. Yes, eat poultry in place of red meat, and exactly. And recycling, paper reduction, many different other opportunities. But the point really was, again, for us at NRDC, who had really, for years and years, mostly talked and worked on issues of technology, policies, mandates, incentives, now spending a lot of time looking at financing issues, what we're realizing that, as Jonathan was saying, we need to do all of these things, but even then we probably are not going to achieve the level of progress we need to do unless we start looking at what motivates people to start to take actions, whether they're smaller individual actions or more, deeper actions that we know are going to be necessary. And one of the next things we're going to start looking at, we're all working on figuring out how to get people to make their homes and buildings more efficient. But you could come up with all these financial products, but are people going to actually bother to take loans to make their homes more efficient? They may not. You have to, on the value basis, convince people that saving energy is worth doing, and not just to save money, but because it is the new norm that everybody wants to do. So there are other value-based communications that need to happen to then get people interested in taking out a loan or doing the measures. It's not going to be enough to say it's going to save you money, here's a loan, we could do it, and people won't do it. We've seen and we've argued that people can save money by doing energy efficiency for years and years and years. We've tried to make it easier for people to do it, We've tried to bribe people into doing it. We certainly mandate it through as many codes and standards as we can. And we've tried lots of things, and we've made progress. And our energy intensity is declining, but it's not declining nearly as much as we know makes technological sense, economic sense. But it's not happening at the scale, and certainly not at the speed we need to achieve our goals. And I think for myself, for NRDC, who has really been focused on a lot of these different areas so far, this is a whole new area for us to learn about, think about, understand what is it that's going to motivate individual and group action and allow us to achieve the energy and environmental goals. So I mean, it's for me, a complicated topic, something I'm just coming to learn about, and NRDC is new to it, thanks to Jonathan's urging, and we are going to spend a lot more time thinking this through as we kind of work through all of the other pieces. I mean, we're going to keep, like I said, working on regulatory policy, codes and standards, having the right incentives, having the financial products out there. But we know that even if we did all of those things, unless we change people's behavior about how they come to value carbon reduction and energy savings, we probably are not going to achieve the goal.